Welcome, dear friends, to Cardiac Radio. We are here live from our very studios in Chantilly, Virginia, United States of America. And we have here with us friends who will be joining a beautiful conversation and so important conversation on suicide in adolescence. We're dedicating this program for the urgent need of addressing this issue, right? As a psychologist myself and as a neuroscientist working in the field, helping people out, you can tell that we are in a particular time on earth that adolescents have been challenged by suicide. Why? Why is this happening? What are we missing? What do we need to do? There's so much to address. And we have here with us friends who are spiritists, and they are also in their beautiful teenage years. You know, when we talk about spirits that reincarnate, we usually think that a child is less evolved than an adult. That's our materialistic society. We in Spiritism understand that it may be well the reverse, as the Spirit said in the Spirit's book to Kardec. Kardec asked this very question: is it possible that the spirit of a child may be more advanced than the parents? And the Spirit answered, that may often be the case. So when we bring our teenagers here, we bring them also because they are spiritists and they have an open mind and open awareness that may help many others around the world. We have two friends here with us, Bia Lopes and Felicia Williams. So I'm going to call our first friend here, Bia. Hello, Bia. How are you?
Good, how are you? Doing
So,
well.
Pia, uh,
Yeah.
for those who haven't been acquainted with you yet, you are in New York, right?
Yes.
And your family is in Connecticut, and you come from a Spiritist family. You want to tell just a little bit about your background, like the family, how you became a Spiritist, and why you
Yeah.
chose to be a Spiritist, please?
Yeah. So, when my family came here from Brazil, we actually weren't Spiritist. And then my mom found Spiritism in the United States, in our Through in Connecticut. And then so I was 3 at that point, and then from there I've just grown up in Spiritism, and I wasn't forced into it. Once I started learning more about it, I really loved it and kept wanting to learn about it. And now I'm 19, and so I'm in college now, and so I don't go to the center as much as I used to, but I still keep up with Spiritism, and I host Cardiac Radio for Teens, and I keep learning it on my own here.
Beautiful. That's so beautiful. We have here our dear Marcia Trajano. Yes, Marcia, we agree with you. This program is a must. We really need to address the issue of suicide in adolescence. And I want to share something with you while our dear Felicia from South Africa is coming back here with us. I want to share um, here some thoughts that we've come up with when studying about adolescence. Many people ask us, uh, what's happening to teenagers? Before the industrial era, we know adolescents were always awaited as the new generation at work. So as young as a preteen or even younger, they were asked, and that's not that long ago. And still there is that type of thing happening in the world. And they were awaited to be useful. And I say this useful, quote unquote, in terms of work, uh, productive force. Okay. So I see that our dear Felicia is coming here. Let me just interrupt a little bit and bring her to join us. Yes, she was back here with us,
Hmm.
and she is actually. We're welcoming. Thank you, Felicia. Welcome.
Thank you, Vanessa. Hi, Pia.
Hi.
Yeah, Felicia is talking to us directly from South Africa. She's Felicia. Am I right the way I'm pronouncing it,
Yes,
Felicia?
perfect. Yes, it's perfect.
Yeah. All right, and the whole family, our dear Rihanna Williams, mother of Felicia, and the father, and Felicia has a 3-year-old daughter, was born on Kardec's day, Kardec's birthday, October 3rd. What a beautiful day to be born in.
Mhm.
And they have been studying together, translating books for the Afrikaans language in South Africa. And Rihanna is so diligent in bringing these teachings. A year ago, Kardec Radio did a book drive. So many people around the world helped by sending books or funds so we could buy books. And the Kardec Radio sent like 2 big boxes of books to um, the Williams family. So, because they are pretty much the first Spiritist group society being formed in South Africa. Am I right, Felicia?
Yes, that is true, Vanessa.
Yes, it's the way it is, right? And we can't. We don't want to be the first, but if you're the first, you're the first, right?
Mhm.
Yes, true.
It's harder, but there is a reason why, and that's what it is. And our dear Carol Correa is here with us, and she is cheering up as well, saying, "God bless your efforts." And I agree with you. It's a blessing as well. So we were, Felicia, before you were entering, we were discussing a little bit about what happened to the youth because before the industrial era, they were awaited, and even in the industrial era at the beginning, they were really awaited as the new apprentices, the task force. But then, as soon as humanity recognized the importance of our childhood and how careful we need to be and took the children off of the task force there between children and adults, adolescence became like I would say a puzzling era, unnecessarily I would say, for us
Yeah.
in spiritism. But nowadays it's like, what do I do? I can work or not, but not necessarily work for work. It's just for experience. And then people are like, I don't know what to do. And if you interview, they wanna, if you talk to them, they wanna be there. But then the laws say you cannot. And then you have to be in between these two worlds. You're studying and you're rehearsing. And for some, they are waiting the next step of being, you know, an adult. And then there is this big emotional gap for many of them. Not all, like the two of you, we can say for the two of you, it doesn't happen at that level. So, what do you think in that regard? What do you think, based on your relationships with your colleagues and friends, people of the same age or in that age range of adolescence, what do you think is happening to them nowadays?
I think the problem lies with the picture that society paints for them. It is it is painted in a way that they think they must go to school, get out, go to college, get a job, get married, have children, and then die. That is the basis of what society paints for them. And if they do not meet certain standards, like having a big house and 2 cars, and I mean, all these things that society paints as the norm for people, I think that there's where the problem lies. And then they feel like they have to meet standards, and in that they don't feel like they can follow what they another path, if I can say so, and they're under so much pressure to live this ideal that they think they must have. So I think that's where the problem lies. Is the picture that they get painted early in their adolescence, because they see it daily in their, maybe their parents' life, or friends. Any, like, all people live that way these days. They have this normal checklist to which they check off, and I think if they don't meet that criteria, they feel like they failed, and that's so wrong.
Yeah,
Exactly. That's interesting.
I definitely agree that that's how our society works. And I know, like, when you're in high school or even middle school nowadays, they're just pushing you to get into a good college, get into a good college. Once you get into a good college, it's like, okay, now you have to get a good job, and then, or like go to grad school or something. So it is always just about like what's next, and what you're doing is kind of never enough, because there's always something else. They're like, oh, well, just because you're doing good in high school, now you have to take like college level courses in high school and stuff like that. So I definitely think that it's just like a lot of steps that, and if you like fall behind or deviate from those steps, it seems like you're not doing the right thing.
That is true. That is very true. Like when you do good in school, and a lot of things, like parents plan out a future for their children, which I feel is completely wrong. They paint this picture for them to go to college to be a doctor or a lawyer, and from adolescence, like 11, 15, they tell this child that no, you need to do good in school because you're going to be this, you have to be this, and they work so hard, and then they go to college and they see, no, I love music, or I love art, or certain things that their parents do not feel fitting for them, because they painted this picture for their child. And that is also where I see a lot of suicides happen, is because of that reason, is because they do not want to be in the field that they're in, and their parents and people around them put so much pressure under them, or on them, to fulfill that vision, and they feel like that's not me, that's not who I want to be, and they cannot follow what they want to follow.
So do you guys feel like pressure is the main thing why people are becoming dissatisfied with their lives? I mean, we're talking about the teens.
Yeah, I definitely think so, because
Um,
I think I think it's this pressure to be up to those standards of society. And I know even for like getting into college, it was like, oh, you're smart, what college are you going to get into, where are you going to go? And I know personally at my school, which is a state school, so it's more affordable, so a lot of us that are here got into other schools, like got into these like good schools, but we're at the state school, which is still great. But I know that was a that's a big obstacle that a lot of people overcame, because they got into these like Ivy League schools, but yet they couldn't kind of meet that standard that society had placed for them. So I think that pressure of doing the best and being the best is really affecting teens.
Oh,
yeah.
wow. And what do you think, Felicia?
I
Is that
think
what?
it's Yes, I think it's exactly that reason, the pressure that people put on people to be a certain thing, and the like I said before, the vision, and it's just, I mean, let a person be who they want to be, and do what they want to do, what that makes them happy. If even if it's a if, even if it's a person that could be a doctor, I mean, yes, the world needs more doctors, but if their passion is to write poetry, let them do that. Don't put pressure on them to be a certain thing that they're not.
I see. I see. Yeah. So, what about religions and religiosity or spirituality? What is the status amongst those teens that you are around, that you live with? I know nowadays they are saying that they are being raised without any or major religion pathway or spirituality. What do you see?
Personally, I definitely see a lot of people that don't have a specific religion, or if they do, they don't follow it strongly. Like they'll say, "Oh, I'm Catholic," but they don't actually like go to church all the time. That's just like what their family is. And I've seen that with a lot of people these days, or people who just say they don't have a religion, or they just like have some sort of beliefs, but they don't really know where that's lying. So I've met actually a lot of people recently, especially in college when I've been introduced to a whole range of people, and a lot of people don't really follow religion that specifically, I would say.
Okay. What do you think, Felicia?
Yes, I live in a society or in a country where there is a multitude of traditions. Mostly under my race, it is Christian. But as Bia said, they say they are Christian and they go to church on Sundays, but they do not fulfill like the standards, I can say, to follow that religion to what they are saying they believe in. Or most of them don't even know what they believe in. They say they're Christian, but they don't actually know what that means. In the Black cultures, we have a multitude of traditions. There are different languages for different beliefs. They have so many different beliefs. It's I can't even discuss here. We're gonna have a day. We're gonna need a day to discuss all of them. So the big variety of religions here also makes it difficult for children and teens to actually go out and meet or learn about others, because what I've learned that especially in Black cultures, which is sad, is they have to follow the religion that they were born in. Otherwise, they get cast out or they get accused of certain things, like even witchcraft. It's crazy. There's crazy things happening. So yes, the pressure of meeting a religion that you were born in and not like venturing out and exploring what the truth is, even if you know something, you don't see, you haven't seen it on paper, but you have this feeling. Like, I can actually use me and my mom as a example of this. You don't know what it is, you know it's out there, but in their case they can't do it because then they get exiled from their family.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. So now we want to there is a way for us to do a poll here, and I want to ask those who are watching us to vote if you think that the lack of religion is actually a um, a problem, right? So feel free to vote. For those who are watching us, you can vote and tell us what you think if lack of religion is a problem. And then, meanwhile, I just want to share with you as well the following information. According to the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, they say that suicide is the second leading cause of death for children, adolescents, and young adults age 5 to 24. Majority of children and adolescents who attempt suicide have a significant mental health disorder, usually depression. And they say that among younger children, suicide attempts are often impulsive. They may be associated with feelings of sadness, confusion, anger, or problems with attention and hyperactivity. Among teenagers, suicide attempts may be associated with feelings of stress, okay, and self-doubt, pressure to succeed, financial uncertainty, disappointment, and loss. For some teens, suicide may appear to be a solution to their problems. So depression and suicidal feelings are treatable mental disorders. And before we go to that point, we want to, as you guys were pointing that out, it's very interesting for us that you guys are getting exactly to the point. Like, we there is a different pressure. Before, it was very organic. The growth, the whole process, people used to stay with their families, participating in their family's business, etc. Now there is a pressure to go out, and special like because the world is became just like the next door neighbor, right? It's beautiful to push, go out, not only to the next city or the next state. Sometimes you're pushed because it's a sign of success if you travel around the world, if you go everywhere. So the pressure has never been to this level. Do you guys agree?
Yes,
Yeah, definitely.
definitely. Mm.
Yeah. So we have friends here who are voting, and I guess our audience is on that line that they think that the lack of spirituality is a problem. We have here our dear Mary Lee Lopes, who is the mother of
Mhm.
Beatriz Lopes, saying she thinks it's a problem. Carol Correa mentioning also that it leads to the neglect of our deepest roots. Marcia Trajano in Texas saying that the lack of spirituality more than lack of religiosity or religion specifically. So if we talk about that in itself, do you think our the adolescents nowadays knows the difference between religion and spirituality? Do they talk about it at all in schools or colleges?
Um, well, they definitely like at a state school we don't talk about any type of religion or anything of that sort, but definitely I've seen like interacting with my peers that although people might not specifically say like spirituality or religion or anything, they do more. I feel like they're going towards like, oh, I have my own beliefs and my own feelings about this, but it's not really a religion. So it kind of is spirituality, but not with like that name. Not that like
Uh-huh.
they're kind of saying those ideas but without actually knowing what it is.
Okay. What do you think, Felicia?
It's the same with us here. I've seen a lot of people venture off and do believe certain things. They also do not talk about spirituality or a belief system. They actually took it away from the schools, which is actually kind of sad because, I mean, some sort of positive reinforcement is better than nothing. But they stopped the whole studying of the Bible or praying, all these things they stopped in school because there's, like I said, so many varieties of beliefs in our country that they felt it was wrong for all children to do one thing, which, like I said, I feel like some good reinforcement, like even a prayer, would be good for children to learn because these days they don't really learn to pray. A lot of children don't pray in their homes. So even if they can reinforce it in schools, just to pray in the mornings or at gathering, that was the one thing that I thought could stay in schools. There's a lot of things I think that should be taken out of schools, but that was not one thing. Yes, I feel like that is a very there's not really people that talk about it. It's sort of a, I can say, a taboo to say that you are not a Christian if you are the same race as me, because that is the only thing that they know. That's why our job is so big here, is because to spread the awareness of Spiritism. Um, there is a lot of teens right now that are saying that are actually discovering a lot of spiritual beliefs. They don't have a name for it or a description for it, but there's more of an awakening, I can say, to the new youth.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
interesting.
agree.
Yeah, go ahead. Do you wanna make a comment there
No,
about?
I just agree that it's more like people do have this like spirituality like in them now. I see that more, but just not with any specific terms.
I
Yes.
see. And Brianna is saying we as parents should shift the focus of for our children not on worldly accumulation accomplishment, but on spirituality. That's a dream. That's a dream, Rihanna. I agree with you as a mother, but it's pretty tough because the parents themselves feel doomed to being in the world. And that's where the gospel according to Spiritism come handy. So let's talk about this. Since the both of you are Spiritists and you have embraced it dearly to levels like Bia, for example, she has been the host of Cardiac Radio for Teens for more than 2 years,
More
right?
than 2 years, yeah.
2 years and maybe what, 6 months?
Yeah, about that.
Whoa,
That's crazy,
beautiful.
yeah.
Beautiful. Right now, you are working on the Spirit's book.
Yes, almost finished.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. So, and for those who are watching us, you can listen to the podcasts. Just go to cardiacradio.com, podcast. You go to Cardiac Radio 14s or go directly to SoundCloud and you're going to listen to Cardiac 14s there, Cardiac Radio 14s there. And Felicia has been working with the family, Rihanna and your father, and you've done some programs already talking about spirituality for children, like you've mentioned as well, right, Felicia?
Yes, I have, yes.
Okay, so Ismael Estrada is asking what we're talking about here. As you can see the title, it's about suicide in adolescence. Welcome to Cardiac Radio. Nora Brazil is saying, as a middle school teacher, I see the lack of spirituality affect students daily in so many ways. So based on this, it's true, and there is enough science already telling us that across the board, if we have some form of spirituality and we practice it between religion and spirituality, if we practice it, we have higher rates of health and well-being, etc. So, how do you think Spiritism can help adolescents nowadays? How do you think? Bia
Doing,
or Felicia? It's up to you who wants to start it.
um, I think you can help because it's kind of like a guide, and Spiritism shows that this isn't it. Like, this isn't just the only step. This isn't your only chance. There's so much more to just like getting into college and then getting a job, and then if you fail, like that's the end of the world. It's not. So I think it's just a great way that we can see that, yeah, we want to become the best that we can be, but we are going to make mistakes, and we will have help and guidance to get us through those mistakes.
Yeah, thank you. And you, Felicia, what do you think?
No, I agree with Bia. It is a complete guide to saying that your life does not have to revolve around a pretty picture. You can actually just do what you want to do, and to be a good person is not, it's not weakness. It is actually the biggest strength you can have, and it is an empowerment for our youth to grow into aspiring good-willed adults that will make a change in our in everyday life, and also for the new generations that will be born years from now. They will form this platform of a life that will change Earth, and that's ultimately what we are after, is creating peace and love and charity and all these beautiful things. So yes, that's what I think will happen, is if all of the that is a dream, like you said, so it is a dream, so that the parents of the future can involve their children in not accumulating, but living on helping others.
Exactly, exactly. You said it all as well.
Mhm.
Beautiful. Both. You agree? We agree. Exactly. And we want to mention the following. Based on the Spiritist take, and I want to ask you a question based on this comment. We already know that we come from many lives where we're still learning who we are, putting awareness on it. And many people, if not all the people on the earth, according to science, they have this self-doubt. Am I loved enough? Am I good enough? So we are at this stage. Everyone, and nowadays, thanks to Michelle Obama and others, people have come to know of what psychology mentions, the imposter syndrome, which is like you do great things, but you feel like I wasn't actually the one. So it's interesting because when we take it to Spiritism, you see, well, it's natural that I have to work on myself, and everybody does. People may show that they are doing well, but only they themselves know how they are actually feeling. So comparing myself to others and always thinking that the green grass is in the neighbor's house and not mine is a fallacy. Plus, we're not alone. You mentioned about prayer. We're talking about spirituality, and Spiritism teaches us about the power of prayer and the realization that we have spirit guides always with us. So, do you think that teaching or spreading this news to teenagers may potentially give them a boost, empower them to as a preventative to suicide?
Um, I I'm in a program at my university that's for women that are in science and engineering because there's not a lot of women in science and engineering, so it's a program dedicated to help us. And they do tell us all these things and they help us become more informed about these things such as imposter syndrome. And of course this is relating to gender issues that we have, but it also applies to every aspect because learning these things, even when I'm just like sitting in class and I'm like, okay, imposter syndrome, I actually see it being put into place. I see when I go into a test and I'm like, oh, I'm not going to know anything, but I do know it. I'm just like saying that I don't. So it's definitely an issue, but like I know this program talking about it definitely helps a lot because me and all my peers that are in that class, like we become more self-aware of those things that we're learning, and definitely in the same regards to all topics and spirituality and everything that's happening.
Exactly. So it's very, very interesting because my question nowadays is what are we doing as a Spiritist movement to really reach out to the youth? Do you have an answer to this, Felicia?
Well, like I said before, there's not a lot of programs or even help for teens right now, and that is what I am trying to change in 2019. I feel there has to be a platform or any sort of help out there for teens to realize that they're not alone. And as you said, like this, the imposter syndrome, it doesn't even come from only self. It's actually it comes from a lot of aspects which you don't feel good about yourself, and it starts from an early age. And you tell yourself you're not good enough and you can't do this. And I feel like if more teens and youth know about prayer, the power of prayer, like Vanessa said, there's a spiritual guide, that you're never alone. You don't have to be alone. I feel like the awareness of that itself and the understanding of that will already change that a little bit of what they see when they say to themselves, no, I can't do this, I can't do that. And changing their way of thinking to, yes, I can do this and I can do that. It will create a powerful next generation.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on this, Bia? I know you're doing also your part, but what do you think overall?
Um, I think yeah, definitely. I think I even see like teens that I know who even know spiritism might not apply it into their lives because maybe it's just something they've grown up in and something they just take for granted. So I think definitely some sort of a platform where teens can like a place where it's more applicable or in a like, oh, you this is spiritism, but this is how you can apply it, and like something like a prayer. So it's not even focusing only on spiritism, but just praying and that spirituality that we see a lot of teens feeling. Because sometimes even when we have the tools, even if we have spiritism, we're not using them correctly.
That's a beautiful take. As a medium myself, it's interesting you're saying this because I grew up in a Spiritist family. It's been, 5 generations. And the first center that was founded is still there. And it's been 100 years. And funny enough, though I've been raised in Spiritism and I embraced it myself, I recognize, and I talk to my mom nowadays, and she says, "Oh my gosh," because I'm teaching Virginia, and I see, I can see the mediumship already there. She's like, "Really? How?" And I explained, she said, "Oh, I didn't realize it myself." So there is a big gap between knowing and actually doing. And I'm going to give a tip here, especially for teenagers overall, but adults as well. There is a professor at Yale University. Her name is Lori Santos. She's not Brazilian, though the last name.
Mhm.
And she is the teacher of the main course, the most popular course, the Science of Well-Being. And it's free. You just go there. You go to Coursera.com and you type in the Science of Well-Being. You can take the whole course for free. And she teaches about well-being in general, and she made it, customized it for college students in general. And it's interesting because in her first lesson, it's only 10 weeks, and it's a beautiful way. She says, you may think because I'm teaching this, I am better off emotionally speaking or happier than you guys are. And she says, no, it's not. And I'll tell you why. So she researched on what she named the Gi Joe Fallacy. Because the cartoon, the Gi Joe,
Mhm.
and at the end of it, they say knowing is half of the battle. And she says scientifically it's not true. Because knowing not necessarily does it all. We actually need to apply. And when I heard what Bia said, that goes hand in hand with this Gi Joe fallacy that Dr. Santos mentions, it brought to my mind a passage between Jesus and Nicodemus that is reported in the book Good News by Humberto de Campos. When Nicodemus says, I've been studying the scriptures all along, it talks about the kingdom of heaven, and how come I don't feel myself in the kingdom of heaven? I haven't found it yet. What is my problem? And Jesus said, Nicodemus, it's not enough to know. You forgot to feel it. So how do we get from knowing to feeling it, right? What can we do to actually make this happen? I know in our youth event this past July,
Yes.
we had beautiful discussions in that regard. And you want to mention something in that regard, Bia?
Yeah.
The
So
ideas that came up?
from that youth event that we had over the summer, a lot of great ideas came out from all the Spiritist youth that were there, and we had ideas about an app, about certain just like pamphlets spreading the words, and what you can do to actually apply that to your life. So maybe just something that you read a message a day, or you learn to pray correctly, or something so simple that can really help change your life, and you can put that into your life instead of just going to the center and learning about spiritism and then leaving it all at the center.
Mm.
And you, Felicia, what do you think? You participated, though remotely, at least on the first part of it. What do you think in that regard?
No, I agree as well with Bia that doing little things to introduce a way to, like she said, pray correctly, apply it to your daily life in a way that makes sense, to incorporate it, not just, like you said, Vanessa, to feel it, not to just do it, and make it part of a routine that gets, how can I say it? It doesn't make sense to you anymore. Apply it in the right way, to do small things, like she said as well, to make pamphlets, make a little like do a little compact little book to spread the awareness and show them how easy it is to live a life that you need to live. And I think if one does that, it can change. Yes.
Yeah, and also another thing that I recalled that a lot of the kids were interested were like the songs that we sang at the youth conference, and I know the youth and my brother's group at our center just made a music video to a song, and although it's so simple, they really enjoyed it, and you know that that affected them, and it is spreading that good message. So even little things like that, that especially like for younger kids, that gets them engaged into those things like music or arts or stuff like that too.
That's
Yes,
beautiful. And yeah, go ahead.
music is a beautiful platform to start on. I'm a music lover myself, so I feel like spreading a message through song and getting people to join in song, it usually brightens their spirits immediately, and it gets the message through very fast.
Yeah. When we were at the youth conference this summer, and on our last day when we were doing our day of community service in the park, when we all started singing, people, just random people, were just joining in. You can tell everyone was happy and was feeling it, even if they weren't spiritists or even if they were. So it was definitely a great way to spread that feeling.
That's beautiful. And for those who are watching us, there's the website spiritistsyouth.org, where we've worked on summarizing all the achievements of the event, of the Spiritist Youth event this past summer. And we also want to share with you that the next one is actually going to be in 2020, because we still have to wrap up so many achievements and proposals of the whole group, and prepare for the next one. The next one, the theme is about science and arts. Spiritist youth using arts and sciences to heal the world. And it's going to be July 4th and 5th, 2020. I'm not so sure if I can get the image here for you, but let's see if I can get the image. If I can get the image, you'll see the new flyer, but we'll be releasing the new date at the end of this program so we can work with it. Yeah. For some reason, it's not showing up here, which is fine. We'll find a way to do it later. But so let's talk about the beauty of Spiritism, little things. Uh, you know, we don't need like a whole PhD thesis to prevent suicide, right?
Yeah.
A hug, a smile, a chat, less pressure will suffice. Is that
Yeah.
what it is?
Yes, it is. I feel like the thing that Spiritus teach us is like brotherly love, to love each other, to be there for each other. And that is the main thing that I feel is important, to spread love, to know that you are not alone, and to be there for people. I feel like that in itself can prevent so many suicides, because like the statistics say, most of them say they feel alone. And I feel like it is a beautiful platform to say that you are not alone, that you don't have to go through this alone, to be an ear to listen, to be a shoulder to cry on. That is the most important thing to do. Just to do that and be there for them can change everything.
Yeah. And definitely to know that it's okay to make mistakes, because although we're all trying to get to this perfection, it's okay to make mistakes because we'll have more chances to redeem ourselves. And if we make a mistake again, then we just try again. So I think that's really helpful, because teens feel like they make a mistake and then that's it. That's the end of the world.
Yes, that is very true.
Yes.
Reinforcing that you don't fail at a first attempt, and to keep their hopes up of trying, never giving up, and to know that nobody is perfect. We are all just humans, and we're working every single day on ourselves. I think that is a very important message.
Yeah, that's true. So, for us here today, as we are working on this theme, uh, one thing that we can share is like both positive psychology and neuroscience point out that if we give our physical brain a direction, a true address, it's like a GPS. It gets us there. And what I see daily as an educator and psychotherapist is that people are not trained enough in that regard, in being specific to what they want to achieve in their minds. Like they want to be happy, but they every day think, I'm not happy enough. I'm not happy enough. My life's not good enough. And they say, what do you want? I want to be happy. But then I spend the whole day thinking the opposite. And Spiritism teaches us as well, thought is life. So by bringing that awareness in itself, will that potentially make them see the power of their thoughts or not? What do you guys think?
I mean, I definitely think that if you have that negative mindset going into it, then it's kind of hard to get out of that. Like, and I see that a lot. Like, I'm the middle of finals week right now for college, and you see that a lot. If you have that mindset that you don't know it, if you have that mindset that you're gonna fail, you end up doing bad just because you're thinking about it, just because you're panicking. So I think definitely realizing like, okay, I do know this stuff, even though it's hard, or and having that like mental awareness, those thoughts, and suppressing those negative thoughts is definitely going to be helpful.
Yes, definitely. Like to show them that, or to show them what impact their thoughts have on their daily life, and to show them that all happiness, they need to change their mindset. I think to get that positivity, even if you don't feel it, you repeat it to yourself until you believe it.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I've learned. Like I can feel something, but or say something, but I don't feel it yet, and then I just keep on saying it until I feel it. So to introduce it in that manner of, yes, I know you don't feel it yet, but just keep on saying it, you will feel it, and when you feel it, then you know it's true.
Exactly. And that's how it is. Though majority of people on earth don't know it, but this is a recommendation also for youth. There is a book, Thought and Life by Emmanuel. It's short, 30 single page chapters, and it teaches precisely that you need to coach yourself to beautiful thoughts. And you can start it as young as a child every day. And I mention Virginia because she's my only child, but there's no other way. We say, Virginia, beautiful thought. And she's like, oh, butterfly, love. It's practice. It's just a simple practice. It's like, right now, beautiful thought. I can choose my thoughts. I can choose the next feeling. If some come as impulsive as they are, let's see this. Suicide comes greatly as a byproduct of having a hard time dealing with emotions, having a hard time dealing with negative emotions, having a hard time also dealing with impulse control. And as they say in children, precisely it's about that lack of impulse control. So, how do you practice impulse control? You don't go to school for that, right? And it's not a given. If it's not already brought from previous lives, how do you work on this? And usually parents just repress emotions or let them loose. Oh, if it's approved, go ahead, feel it. If it's not approved, repress. We don't learn how to manage. But Spiritism comes and says, come on, we need to be like a gardener. So there's a beautiful analogy that Kardec brings to us that we can use. Like the seed to a tree. We potentially have the seed of everything that is good in the universe because we're children of God, as Kara Correa was saying here. And between the seed and the pine tree, there is a distance. It's time, effort. But we're not going to smash the seed because the seed is not the tree yet, will we? No. So self acceptance in our level of development is number one. I've heard some children say, I don't like to be children because I want to be independent, etc. But there is a reason why you need to be in that stage right now. Humility is one of the steps, saying, it's okay, I'm not less because I'm a child, and it's okay to embrace it. So if we seek the good all the time, right? Carol Corey is mentioning here thought and life. If we seek the book, which is in chapter 10, understanding, that's a beautiful program to be one day done by teens. Thought and Life by Emmanuel, by teens, to bring that awareness and that empowerment, seeking the good always, instead of resisting, instead of pushing away the bad, saying there must be something good in it. Then I'll always be positive. And even positive psychology says that if people take that route, Dr. Lori Santos, in her lessons of the science of well-being, she scientifically brings to us at Yale University the foundation of gratitude. So do you guys think that the youth nowadays is less grateful than the previous generations?
I definitely think that it definitely depends. I think you can't put everyone together in a group because I know like people I'm around are really grateful, but I think they are used to having a lot of things, especially like having the latest iPhone. People just expect it. They don't really see it as like a big thing. They just think, oh, like everyone has it, I have to have it. So I think it's also just not realizing that some things are as special as they are, and some things that we have really are special. I don't, but then I think I do see that teens, when they realize that something's really special, they're grateful for it. But sometimes they just take a lot of things for granted.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
What about
Definitely.
you, Felicity?
I've seen the lack of gratitude in as old as my cousin is 18 right now. He just graduated high school, and his parents are not together. They always showered him with everything, and he has this still hit this lack of responsibility. He always he thinks that everything should just come, and that is the mindset of the youth that I am around right now. They expect everything, like Bia said. They take it for granted. They think it should just be there. And if they are, or if they already grow up, they realize that you have to work for it. It's not for free. Nothing's for free. And I think gratitude needs to be taught from a young age, to say that you have to eat your food. You know, all of the people are blessed to have this plate of food right now, so eat your food. Or like I tell Zelly, I had a difficult time with her eating. I show her photos. Angelita goes to Madagascar with the small children, um, and I show her pictures of the children there with their clothes and smiling, and they're happy. And I tell her, or my mom tells her as well, look, they don't have much, but they're happy. They're smiling. So you always need to be grateful. So I think teaching it, or it being taught from a young age, is very important. Then they do not take things for granted, because just giving to your child so that they can be happy, which is not happiness, is a temporary thing, creates a very big problem in adolescence and in
Exactly. Yeah, and I agree with Carol. I've been for the last 25 years, and I see the same because I always teach teenagers in college universities, and I see the same as she's saying. They are used to instant gratification. It's become worse because of the exposure to this one button everything, cell phone, computers, tablets, etc. And then we're like, oh, I push a button and it appears. And then when I have to work hard, it's like, oh, it's too hard. It's too hard. And then it, it requires effort. So, like this morning, we were mentioning Thomas Edison to Virginia, saying, she was doing some homework, And I said, we have to erase it and start again. And she's like, how many times do I have to erase and start again? I said, as many times until you get it right. And she's like, really? Yes, you know of Thomas Jefferson. We have these lamps here thanks to Thomas Jefferson. And do you know how many times he had to try to get it done? More than 600. So thank God he persisted. If we don't persist, we don't get to anything. And Andre Luiz in the book Evolution into Worlds, he reveals to us to get to the next stage, we need to make an effort and repeat it, or we won't get it there. So that's our inbuilt system. It works in that direction. If we know it, it's not half of the battle, but it's at least the beginning of the battle. We're going to make it happen, right? So if you guys know that right now there are teens who are watching us and they may potentially feel sad or contemplate, what would be your message for them right now?
Um, I mean, it's a lot to say right now, but I definitely advise to do a prayer and to look into spiritism, look into maybe even just the topic of adolescence or suicide or those topics, and just know that that you're not alone, and that if you do a prayer, you will get the help that you need to push through. And there's always people there for you, even if you feel alone. There's always someone that you can go to talk to that will help you. Definitely.
Okay. Thank you, Bia. What about you?
I would say that yes, go check out the Spiritist platform on Facebook. Reach out, get more information. There is so many helpful things, like even Kardec radio shows. There's so many things that explain certain things that you are going through right now that will make it so much easier to understand, and to understand that you are not alone. You have never been alone, and you will never be. So there's a lot of beautiful people in the Spiritist community that if you do not want to reach out in person, there is a platform, Facebook, Messenger. You can message whoever you see that can help you and get the answers you were looking for. Because truly, for me, I can also speak to myself. When I was a lot younger when we started, and it helped me out of a lot of things I have been through. I have personally felt the depths of depression and anxiety, and Spiritism helped me to grow and to change as a person. So it can definitely do that for you.
Thank you. So thank you, Felicia, for the beautiful words. Thank you, Bia, as well, for your beautiful words. And I want to share with all the words of the Master Jesus. In Matthew 5:16, he says, let your light so shine before humanity that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. So this is a beautiful message here, and I can show you a little bit to you in a beautiful card that I have. And that's the invitation. Let your light shine. So that's why we sing. Let it shine, let it shine. And as you guys said, music can be of great help as well. We really look forward to being together in the next year, 2019, working together. In the middle of the year, when Kardec Radio turns 8 years on July 4th, 2019, we're still going to have the charity festival and potentially a behind the scenes meeting with the youth that wants to come to wrap up everything we've done and prepare for the second International Spiritist youth meeting in 2020. Okay, so for now, I want to thank Bia and Felicia for your time, for your beautiful works, and looking forward to having more of you as an outreach hand and embrace to the youth.
Thank you, Vanessa.
You. Yeah.
Thank you, friends. So, a big hug to all of you. And until next, happy holidays. And let's enter the new year with a lot of good projects, doing the good always. Thank you.